After scoring the contract for the San Aurelio River upgrade, CEO Rocky Quarryman has taken the Marble Mountain Mining Company from a small-time operation to the region's largest mining company. With the quarry nestled in the foothills of Marble Mountain and only a 45-minute drive from the city, the quarry is in a prime location. With direct rail connection to Port San Aurelio, plentiful job offerings, and an abundance of stone to mine, Marble Mountain Mining Company's story is only just beginning. Today, we're going to be building this industry from scratch, starting from a small-time level 1 operation all the way up to a level 5 full-fledged quarry, whole lot of detail, and just making these mines look a little bit more interesting because the base game ones do leave a lot to the imagination. Well, luckily, we've got a lot of imagination and a lot more tools to make these places feel a little bit more realistic. But the most exciting part about this build is not the mine itself, it's what it represents. It represents leaving the big city and exploring those connections across the entire region of Marble Mountain. And that's what this series is all about. Alright, so this seems like a pretty good starting place to give you some context as to where we're working today. Not in the city, we're leaving the city for once. We are going to be working all the way up at Marble Mountain. Well, I mean, not the peak of Marble Mountain, but in the foothills. And we'll get up there in just a moment, but I do just want to show you the highway we built in the last episode because he does snake towards that mountain. Because eventually we will upgrade all of this so we have a nice clear path and connection up into the mountains and into the distant regions as well. But I also just wanted to show you this train line, this one in particular, as he snakes all the way through these suburbs, through the middle of these roads and heads towards where our future port is going to sit. At the moment, it's a bit of a dumping ground, but eventually this will be a giant port. We've got 2 factories down here which are relying on importing stone, which is not great. The ground earth factory is doing fine, but it could be doing a whole lot better. And then more importantly, the concrete batch plant, which is also relying on imported goods. Let's start harnessing some of the stone in Marble Mountain and get this thing working a whole lot better. But for me, it's all about that journey, seeing that connection up in the quarry, down through all this area, and that is going to be just so fun to see. So let's start working on it. Something I need to be a bit careful about is this is Marble Mountain and I don't really want to be flattening too much of the landscape because it's taken a while for me to get these mountains just right. But I do need to figure out where this road's going and also this train line. I think all around here, I like the path, but when we get to about here, I reckon we need to be doing something a little bit different. I'll change our elevation step to be as small as we can go. And I'm going to just go a bit more windy as we try to navigate what's going to be a pretty hilly and mountainous environment. And especially because you make realizations like this where I actually think I might take a bigger turn around here and then come to this direction. Mostly so that it feels like a much larger journey than it really is. And now that we've got that windy road as he snakes his way up into the valley, I'm going to use Move It to raise and lower down some of these nodes because that is just too extreme. And then I'll do the terrain around it. I'll do Control H and align them up to a bit of a central point. And then just in terms of the path of the road, as he goes up and over into this valley, over the ridge, we'll put our quarry here in just a moment, and then over another ridge, which I think I might actually just raise him up a little bit more so that we have a nice little grand opening to our desert, which we'll work on another day. But I think what we need to do now is just get the terrain a little bit more normal, think about where it could go in the future, and then we'll start building our quarry. Something I've forgotten about, the train line. It'll be a little bit more challenging to get up there, but we definitely need that connection. I'm doing nice big swooping motions because, yeah, that's what I was worried about. Nice big swooping motions to allow for these longer trains to navigate all of this. And I think here we could go straight. I don't even mind that little dig into the mountain. Yeah, I quite like that path, though I do need to make some adjustments. So let's just move it and just change some of these nodes so it's a nice gradual incline up into the valley, and we'll have to be a little bit more careful than the road, which is going to be kind of tricky. All this is going to need a lot of reshuffling. And that's pretty nice and gradual. Way more gradual than I expected, to be honest. I think this straight section is doing a lot of heavy lifting. The only spot where I think it is a bit of an issue is around here. So what I'm going to do is I will remove all this section. Let's instead cross the river at this point. We'll go straight in this direction. And then we can start to wind ourselves up around here. And I reckon that'll give us enough clearance to get to this point. And with those two networks now down, I am going to go through and fix up the terrain, which really needs a lot of fixing up. Oh boy, this is getting pretty fun. Geez, I got a couple of great ideas, and it's absolutely gone off track. I mean, we're still not anywhere close to building our quarry. I guess we're getting a little bit closer, but there are a couple of things I want to do before we get there. And that's some nature stuff, which I haven't really dived into too much within City Skylines 2, but I absolutely love that aspect of it within City Skylines 1. And we are starting to get to some areas where I think we can add in some really fun little details. I've got the water features tool mod, so I can add in some of these little tiny streams, and that's exactly what this is going to be. I love the idea that Santa Aurelia River actually starts up at Marble Mountain as just a tiny little trickle and then ends up becoming all of this. That to me is a lot of fun. I think that maybe if we just like gradually come down, so just make like little tiny adjustments to the landscape like this, then we might be able to come down the mountain at a real gradual pace. And I'm kind of obsessed with how smooth this train line is. I've just spent far too long smoothing them out, but I'll probably leave it there for this train line because I don't know if I can get it any smoother. Oh man, that's gonna look so nice when we start detailing things up. What I want to do now is I think that this hillside right here probably warrants a bit of a tunnel going through. A bit of a losing battle here. Anytime I want to make this segment straight, I then get this weird clipping going on with the tunnel. Ooh. Okay. I think I got it. I don't love this though. Oh, so close. I mean, imagine if we had procedural objects that I could squish him down and change him about, and that would fit pretty well. I mean, that's exactly the color that I want. I love these pillars here. I mean, I could use this thing all day, every day. Or maybe we can use transform tool. Yeah, I mean, it's not perfect, but you can see where we're going with this. It just adds a little tiny bit of detail. I mean, not much. Not much at all. I really need to build this mine, but I really can't help myself. I feel like I just gotta add in some trees and just play around with some of the surfaces, and then, I promise, we'll build this mine. But first, just a few little shrubs. And it's amazing how far just a little tiny bit of detail adds to it. I will continue to do bits and pieces like this, but I am so close to building this quarry. But I reckon let's add a bit more detail to this bridge and give it a couple of these arches. Let's see if I can get this node a little bit closer. I want a bit of that concrete there. And that gives us enough space to have the arch going directly over the road. That is a whole scene. And when we get a stream running down here and see a big old train just making his journey across, yeah, this is looking pretty good, but I am going to put a pin in it because otherwise I am going to just only focus on this. I really want to start to see a quarry up here, and more importantly, seeing him start to level up and hopefully become everything that I've always wanted it to be. Okay, I've changed my mind. This is just too small for a quarry, especially with the amount of infrastructure we're going to need to place over here, especially because this is Marble Mountain. I don't really want to eat too much into it, and I've already taken a big chunk out of it. I mean, I can terraform all this back, so it's not a big deal. But yeah, in terms of what a quarry looks like and what goes into it, you know, you've got the quarry wall, and then you've got all the industry around it, and then all the office buildings, and the storage. Yeah, there's a lot. Not to mention, I do want a train connection, and this does fit, but in terms of getting him over here, we'd have to have a junction, cross the river, cross this highway, go around here, and then get him in. Yeah, it's just too small, especially when we've got a pretty good spot over here. And that is the basic infrastructure down. I have a really simple road connection and we'll see how this guy performs. But I think considering how much traffic I expect to see out here, I think we should be pretty sweet. Train line wise, I mean, I really wish we could go a little bit further into this area, but I think we'll be pushing it. I mean, we're already kind of pushing it. I'd like to get a bit of the mining operation down, but in terms of using the City Skylines assets, which I do not love when it comes to the mines, I will be following a tutorial by the Urban Odyssey who created a truly awesome looking mine and some really great ideas down here. So with that in mind, let's get mining. Okay, so 3 mines down, and I'm going to hit play and just see what happens. So the thing that I really don't like about these mines, I mean, I like these ones, but the thing that I don't like about the vanilla mines in general is you get just random props, but hopefully by stretching out the industry throughout these areas, it's not just like one big flat space. This one I might actually get one of those big giant props, which I hope I don't. So no giant props at the moment. Just a couple of little excavators or giant excavators, which I actually don't mind because it does add a bit of movement to the area. I will put in one of those giant diggy things, maybe around here or over here. I think that'll fit pretty well, but I really like this technique. It needs a lot of detail, which I'm about to get into. A couple of really easy things that I can do is I can use Better Bulldozer just to remove these fences. I can't unfortunately remove these surfaces, but I will use a very similar surface just to tie it all in. And I've just covered this thing full of layers of a white stone, and you can see the layers down here. It's a bit sharp, but I will put some trees around so it can kind of blend in a little bit better. But yeah, you can imagine all the stone and dust flying off this thing. So yeah, kind of fun. I'm also just zoning some industry purely because I want this thing to operate as best as it can. I will connect up this train line pretty shortly, but I do want to see some more of these buildings leveling up just a little bit more. So while I wait for that to happen, I'm going to continue to detail. I'm going to get into this little corner here, and I think we should add in just a little reservoir of water. And maybe there's a little runoff as he goes all along this section. We can put a couple of little bushes through here too. Trees are helping, and so is all that surface and a fence and just little bits of detail, but I'm at a bit of a loss because I know more can go down here. Like we could put some office buildings and some other bits and pieces, but yeah, I'd like to hear from you guys. What else could we add just to give this a little bit more detail, a bit more presence in terms of realism? I know there's like extra stuff we can do, but we are starting to level up, which is wonderful. So I'm going to connect up our train line. I don't have a huge amount of hope that we're going to see cargo being loaded onto this thing and transported into Santa Aurelia, but I mean, just seeing it do it is going to be pretty nice. I mean, it's pretty cool to see, but I can't help but be a little bit disappointed with the fact that no cargo is being stored here. And this is not a coal train or a stone train. He has no hoppers. It's hauling the wrong stuff. Hold the phone. Would you look at that? We've got hoppers with a variety of different heights of ore within them. Well, that is actually pretty great. It's going in the wrong direction. I mean, I don't know why he's transporting this to a mine, but hey, that makes me really, really happy to see. Many hours later, after so much detailing, I'm slowly getting there. I'm slowly getting to a stage where I feel like this is representing what I want it to be like, but I mean, there's just a few things that I feel like I just need to hold out for it to really become everything that I've always wanted it to be. Because as much as I love certain aspects of this, I do feel like I kind of need to wait just a little bit longer to see what we get with PDX mods. As trees start to get updated and added. I mean, tree support I don't think is even a thing at this very moment, but Padelmo has figured out ways of getting around it. But I don't know if these are the trees that I need. So I love these trees and I think they work really well within Santa Aurelia, but when we start getting up here, I wouldn't mind it looking just a little bit more arid. This river, which I obviously still need to work on, it's not perfect, but what I wanted to achieve was the look that it all kind of runs from Marble Mountain and it starts off nice and small, which I do need to continue to narrow and make a little bit skinnier. And then as he goes down the mountain and through the valley, it gets wider and wider. And then we of course get into this area, which I would like to kind of have a bit of a town going on, you know, with a reservoir and a little dam as well. And then, yeah, I mean, it just gets a bit concretey from here on end. But I'm still experimenting, and a lot of this I can use the eyedrop tool just to click on and use in other areas too, now that I know what I can do to detail areas like this, you know, in terms of mud effects and different surfaces and all the decals, because there are quite a lot of decals down here too, just to kind of get into some of these cracks and just give a little bit more texture too. But yeah, do still need to work around here and detail up the train line and do around the tunnel and the other side of the tunnel, but I am keen to hear from you guys as well what else you'd like to see around here. Here's the tricky part. At some stage, it probably is going to have to get upgraded to maybe multiple lanes, because at this very moment, it's fine for just this mine. But I mean, when we get other things elsewhere, yeah, I mean, it's going to get a little busy around here, isn't it? And the mine for sure still needs a lot of detail, but I will continue to chip away and add to it. At this very moment, I am just keen to see how he operates, and this guy just doing a nosedive into there. Yeah, I mean, I just need to see how it operates and see him level up, which he is slowly doing, which is great. I'm probably going to leave the simulation running for quite a while and then see a little bit more connectivity, maybe more transported. In fact, let's just speed through a whole bunch of months. I might even record a whole other episode. And let's see if things have changed. Okay, so it has been a while since I was last up here. A few changes, a few positives, but I have to say the years have not been super kind to this build, which I'll show you in just a moment. But a positive, I like this little sign that I added out the front just to match with the billboard and the logo of the mountain and the mining company. And I like the palm trees. Yeah, looking pretty good. But as you can see, the trees are swaying because I have removed Tree Controller, which is a mod that it's one of my most essential mods because I don't love the trees swaying in the wind. It kind of just like takes me out of the immersion of the game. I feel like it just does not look very nice. This train does look very nice though. We do need to detail him up, which I'm not going to do today because I'm going to complain a little bit. So Tree Controller is having some issues with the new game mechanics of being able to stop the tree growth, which I just have to say is just such a stupid mechanic. I am so sick of it. I'm sick of it because basically it's kind of messed up a lot of my settings and I didn't realize, but all my trees grew anyway. And I'm not blaming Tree Controller because that mod works perfectly. But now that we have the game mechanics, well, at least now we have those mechanics being introduced within the game, Tree Controller doesn't really work as intended, and I really do not love trees swaying in the wind because they just look, it looks like a storm, and it's not a storm, it's a beautiful sunny day. And in saying that, it is obviously great that mods are being included within the base game, but then when they actively break other mods that were also doing that job anyway, yeah, it kind of is a bit of a buzzkill. Especially when I put so much time and effort into how these trees look and, I'm hand placing all these trees and bushes and I've had to go back and replace a lot of them, but I stopped because it is just so much work. It is so much work to place down all of these things and then for the game just to change and update, and great. I love changes and updates, but not when they break stuff like this. So yeah, this is a bit of a former shell of what it used to be because I feel like it is not quite as detailed and nice in terms of the environment. And I don't really want to go back and fix it because I don't know what's going to change. So I am going to kind of shift my focus back to the city because I just don't think we're at a stage where City Skylines 2 is super nature focused. And I don't really want to be spending so much time and effort on aspects of the game that are most likely going to change quite a lot in the future. Like I know we're going to be getting more trees and custom assets in terms of the environment, so I sort of don't really want to be spending so much time trying to make certain parts work, when I reckon down the track, we'll probably see more of these sort of assets on PDX mods. Yeah, I'm sorry, but this train just looks so stupid. I wish we had hoppers. I wish we had stone being transported. Nothing is being transported. Why? I've even tried to build a port, and this is, sure, we've got cargo being delivered to the city. Great. But no cargo is being delivered from the mine. Why? Why is that? It's so annoying. But on a positive note, I do like the way that the layout of all this is starting to look, and it does make me really excited for other aspects of Marble Mountain that we can start to get into. Just a bit of graffiti that I've added as I've been just chipping away at some stuff. But yeah, all this is a lot of fun, and I really love just seeing the path of this river, how he does snake down the mountain and into San Aurelio, so that does make me really happy to see. But yeah, I do wish more connectivity was going on, and I also wish that we also were at a level 5. We scraped a level 5 just for a second, and then it dropped down, so I'm not really sure why that happened. I think it has something to do with the transportation because all my trains stuffed up. I really wish these were just a little bit better, but Yeah, man, it is what it is. If you guys have any suggestions for things we can add and change and how we can potentially see better connectivity with the mine and the rest of the city, and maybe just seeing more being transported with this train, because I feel like it would be really nice to see a little bit more connectivity going on and maybe even see our mine level up just a touch more. That's all we need, just a little touch. But geez, I mean, it's gonna be a lot of fun when we start getting into areas like this. And even with that little portion that we worked on today, you can get a good sense of how much further we've got to go and the sort of things we can start to work on in the future. And it does make me really excited for areas like this and getting around the coastline and getting into the desert and beyond. Yeah, there's a lot of really fun places, and it does make me really excited to start to work on them. Even if it is a little whiles away, we're definitely making some good progress to get there. With that rail line now running nicely throughout the valley, it does give me a little bit of an idea of how it's going to look throughout the rest of this region. But how does the same rail line look when it finally meets the city? Well, that's a story for the next episode. Thank you guys so much for watching today's episode of Marble Mountain. It is always so greatly appreciated. If you're interested in the next episode, well, it's already recorded and up on my Patreon and YouTube members page. That support does help out the channel quite a lot. So if you are interested, I'll leave a link down below to Patreon and YouTube members. And I want to give a special shout out to some of those guys right now, like Capcar, Danny7, Devil0213, Kyanosaurus Rex, Const, Thomas Altman, Julian, and Byron28. Cheers, legends. I'll catch you all in the next one. See you later.